Hey everyone, Michelle Seidling here with another episode of Food Experience Unplugged. Today we are talking about becoming pain-free, and who better to do that with than Frank Titus, the pain-free guru. Welcome to the podcast, Frank.
This podcast is available on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed as new episodes become available. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of our episodes, please rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform. As always, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some resources as you begin your health journey.
Thank you. I appreciate the name calling. I don't think I've heard guru yet, but I love it. I will own up to it.
Okay, that sounds like a challenge. Excellent. Well, to get started, will you take a moment to introduce yourself and what brought you to this point in your life and career, and why motion, why the direction of pain and helping people become pain-free?
Well, this is a long, tragic story. No, it's a great story. I grew up on a farm in Indiana, and that farm boy strong kind of thing. Yes, that's a real thing. And then I went to the Army. I was in the Army for 4 years, and that was pretty tough on my body. Went to Ranger School and Air Assault School, and I had left knee surgery when I was in there, and so that woke me up a little bit. And then I was at USC South Carolina, not USC Southern California, where I am, and I just my son had just been born. And I just started working out. I remember the program was Cybergenics, which I loved. It was pretty brutal, but I loved it, and it kind of educated me more and got me excited about different things. And I was doing squats, and I heard a pop. I didn't really have pain, but I heard a pop, and I was like, I don't think that's very good. So on the way, I just was leaving out of the gym to the locker room to get my things and go home. I felt pain. I went face down in the hallway, and I couldn't move my legs. If I moved my arms, the pain was so bad. Sorry, I don't know how to stop that. The pain was so bad, I was tearful, and I lay there. It seemed like a long time, but it probably wasn't that long. But somebody finally walked by and said, "Are you okay?" Which now I can laugh about, because who's laying down in the middle of a hallway, right? So they strapped me down on one of those boards. And, at that point I was thinking, oh my gosh, I just had my son. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? I won't be able to play with him. And they shot me full of whatever it was, and told me that it was a herniated disc and bed rest for 3 days, but the medicine, the injection should, revive my legs. So after 3 days, I got up, and I was bent over, way over, and I couldn't straighten up. And so then I went to the chiropractor for a while. And so that got me interested in chiropractic, because that at least got me up and moving and things like that. I think chiropractic for that kind of treatment, like right after an accident, is awesome. I don't think that you should have to, take your car back to the mechanic to get it readjusted every couple of weeks to make sure it's well. So then I went to college, got a degree in exercise physiology and kinesiology, and I got out of school, got one of the 3 paid internships in the country at the time at General Dynamics. And then I didn't know what I was going to do, because I got accepted to PT school and chiropractic school. So I just took a job. I entered a little bitty ad in the one ads, which probably kids don't even know what those are these days. But I got a job with Pete Agoscu, and he was famous for fixing Jack Nicklaus's back at the time. And I didn't really know anything about it. I just knew that it was a job and I was going to get paid. And I remember looking over Jeff Gluckman's shoulder, because the computer program, you could evaluate somebody's posture and change the little stick figures. And he was evaluating it so quickly. And I remember saying to myself, oh my goodness, I wonder how long I can keep this job before they figure out I will never be able to do this. and, and little did I know, the whole process was going to change my whole being, my thought process about how to help people. And I had a reoccurring knee injury, and I went to the doctor first, but Pete didn't believe in surgery very much at all. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fired because the surgeon wanted to do surgery on the same day that they'd already done surgery on. So I hobbled in the next day, and I remember Pete saying, well, you know what? It's your right hip. I was like, what are you talking about? I can't straighten my left leg. And he gave me a few things to do, and I stood up, and it was gone. So I was like, I really need to start paying attention to what's going on. So at that point, I dove in, and Pete's work was very insightful and changed my whole way of thinking. I kind of had to unlearn things. And after being there for 3 years and being the director, I decided there were things I wanted to change about the treatment that was given, and I wanted to get more movement. His was more about postural alignment, and I wanted to not just do postural, but integrate movement and re-educate the body to the correct way to move, because I think that's more long lasting. So then I started my business in Los Angeles because my son was up in Burbank at the time, so I wanted to be closer to him. And that was, gosh, my business. I started in 1995. I graduated from college in 1992. So since 1995, I've had my own practice, and I've done it. I've worked on people in 22 countries because I can do all of this online.
Interesting. Yeah, you normally think of, chiropractic, back pain,
Right.
You've got to come in the office, you got to have several
Right.
sessions.
Right.
So, well, yeah, what is unique about your program that you can do it online to begin with, but also, what is unique about the program that really helps people to understand that motion, I guess?
Well, a lot of different things. The story that I tell, how my method of treatment is different than other treatments, is I would say, Michelle, let's go for a walk, right? And I put a rock in your shoe. And by the time we get to the front door, you're going to say, man, I've got a rock in my shoe. I'm like, just work through it. Let's go. Because that's really what most of us do, right? We get a little ache or pain, and we're like, oh, it'll work itself out, after a while. And so we go on this hike. By the time we get to the curb, you're going to be moving a compensatory movement pattern, right? To get away from that pain. Whether you think about it or not, your body doesn't want to be in pain. So it's just going to start compensating. So then you're not, that rock doesn't really bother you. By the time we get back, you say, well, Frank, my back is killing me. I say, well, go get it treated. And you walk into their office and you say, my back is killing me. What are they going to work on?
Chances are you're back.
I'm going to get the rock out of your shoe. Because until you get that rock out of your shoe, you are not going to get well. You're going to continue to be treated for the back problem.
Okay. So you're kind of getting more to the actual cause, which was the rock.
Yes, and I learned a lot of this from a book that was written in 1949 by Otis Kendall, famous physical therapist, and his whole thing was evaluate somebody's posture and then fix what's tight and weak, and then the symptoms go away, whether they are in your knee or your back or your neck. If you just get things realigned, those symptoms will go away.
Okay.
So, and to say online, when I first started, it was more of a, we did it on video.
Okay.
And my first patients were in New Zealand, and in order to treat them, I would send them a video. They would do that routine, send me a video back, and then I would send another video back. But
Mm,
now I can do it all online, all on Zoom, and
sure.
it's I guess it's the way of the future, and I thought about it early on, um, and I can literally now, I can just joke around about that Jeff Gluckman story, the street. I can tell where their aches or pains are.
Mm,
And because of that, just being able to evaluate somebody's posture and somebody's gait pattern, I can do that online. And then because I don't do any hands on and I don't use any equipment, then I can treat anybody anywhere who has Wi Fi access.
okay. Interesting.
I
So,
know, I see
yeah,
your
so
eyebrows going up.
yeah. So are you what exactly is the it was Titus Motion Therapy? Is that what
Yes,
your
yeah.
official program? So what exactly how do you conduct that? How do you handle that situation? You're handling it online, which is great because you've got access, but um in terms of what is involved in it? What is involved in that TMT?
Well, it's the same as when I had an office. So when I was in the office, I would look at somebody posturally, front, both sides, back, and then watch them walk. And I can do that all online. And, then I give people a routine. I typically only see people once a week for 8 weeks. And, and that's it. Then they have the tools, which is a horrible business plan, right? There's no money in getting people well. So what's great about the online part is that I can video everything. And so I can send them after the routine, I can send them a video of their routine. So they have that, plus they have the typed up routine to go along with that.
Okay. So you're sending an example of, whatever exercises that they need to
Yeah,
do essentially.
every single thing. So then they'll have the video, it's the visual learning and auditory because it's my voice. And then they will also have the typed up routine. I mean, people learn in different ways, as you know.
Sure, absolutely. Now with
What's
this,
interesting to me, oh, go ahead.
oh no, no, please go ahead. Something was
What's
interesting to you. I love it.
well, a couple things is that the number one thing why I wake up in the morning is the number one thing people say is that I gave them their hope back because so many times people are thinking that or being told that they can't do something like you'll never be able to do that again, and then or they have to have this extreme surgery, and I tell them, let's give it 8 weeks and figure it out because surgery should be the last thing. Some people absolutely need surgery, but I have a success rate of 95% success rate of keeping people out of surgery that are scheduled for surgery. So
Okay.
the other part is that we're talking about learning the kinesthetic part of learning, right? The
Okay.
feeling of doing it. And as people unwind out of their pain, they get more awareness of where they are in space. Because when we're in pain, we kind of sometimes push down the pain, and then that pushes down our awareness of where that body part is.
Mm,
That
okay.
makes sense?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, what causes? I mean, there's so many. Unfortunately, chronic pain is all too prevalent in our world. But what really causes it? I mean, we had the pebble in the shoe example, but in a real sense, are there different areas that are tend to be chronic pain more than others?
Well, something like 80% of the planet has back problems. Like,
Okay.
that's amazing, right? Um, I think that we're not moving enough. So when you sit, and even when I work on professional athletes, I tell them, look, you're not moving enough. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, well, uh, elementary school, junior high, high school, college, what were you doing all day? You were sitting at a desk, and a lot of schools now have taken out PE, but you're sitting down all day long, right? And even if you're a professional athlete, it's only for a few hours at the end of the day that if you're on an athletic team, right? So we sit, and that shortens up everything. It pulls us back into the fetal position, right? So that shortens up everything, shortens up your chest, shortens up your hips, your knees. And that, I think, is the main problem. Nowadays, also, people are looking down at their phones, right? Constantly. Your head is 8 pounds. 8 pounds is like a bowling ball. So you sit a bowling ball on your shoulder, you could carry it for a long time. But if you move it just a little bit forward, that's a lot more because now gravity is pulling on that as well.
Okay.
Right.
So it's kind of putting a strain on your neck, maybe shoulders or other
Yes.
areas.
And most people don't have their computer screen high enough as well. And I could tell you right now, you don't have your computer screen high enough.
I don't have my computer screen high enough. I should be looking like up there.
No, you
somewhere.
should not. The center, like when you're sitting, you shouldn't have to look down even a little bit at the center of the screen, because then there's the bottom of the screen, right? So if you put the center of your computer screen eye level when you're sitting up tall, then you're going to be sitting up tall the whole time. But if it's down just a little bit, it doesn't have to be, a lot low. It might be 2 inches low, might be 4 inches low.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
You should take a picture of you sitting at your computer and attach it to this. But I can tell you're looking down a little bit. Your head's a little forward. That's all.
All right. Here.
See?
Come on now.
And that's what I do. I'm like the Sixth Sense kid that says he sees dead people. I see crooked people all day long.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll make
It
sure
looks better already. It might be able to go a little
I just
higher,
moved the
but
camera and now I can look in the proper direction,
it
alignment.
really looks a lot better.
That's great. Just don't send me a bill for this, Frank, okay?
Okay. I will.
Right. Oh my goodness. So tell me about the people with whom you've worked, what kind of, I don't know, success stories and how they're unlearning the posture and movement and relearning through through your method.
I have so many great stories. I'm so blessed to be able to even tell these stories. One of my favorites, all-time favorites, because the Masters was this weekend, I think about golf, and a patient named Daryl Taylor, and he's on one of my videos. I think it's on YouTube. It might be on the website. He came in and he was a friend at a country club. I won't say the name of the country club because I don't want to get in trouble or anything. But Daryl won't let me say his name. And Scott Sims, who's another longtime friend and patient. I helped Scott stay out of back surgery. He and another guy from Lakeside, I can't remember who the other person was, came in and helped Daryl in. And Daryl literally almost like crawled into the office. He had this big elaborate back brace on. And so I'm treating him and talking to him about the process and how it's all going to help. And he literally is like rolling his eyes. And he's like, oh, whatever. Because it's very, at the beginning, it's not like exercise. It's very subtle contractions and movements and things like that. It's not, somebody that's in that much pain, you're not going to give them like a lot of exercise. And a lot of people think, well, this isn't going to do anything. And I remember he stood up and he goes, moves around a little bit. And he says, all right, so how much is this? And so he signed up. Now he was scheduled for back surgery, I think 6 weeks from when I started working up with him. And after about 4 weeks, he canceled that surgery and he didn't end up needing the surgery. And I finished the program with him 8 weeks. He was good to go. And he's a scratch golfer. I mean, he's traveled the world golfing. He got it 10 weeks from when I first started seeing him was the country club golf tournament, their annual big Uba, whatever it is. And he won it. And the person that he beat to win it was the surgeon. Is that great? Is that the greatest? I just love that story. Now, interestingly enough, too, is that I've probably helped at least 10, maybe 15 people from that country club avoid back surgery The surgeon has never referred me one person. So, I guess he's upset that every time I help somebody, it costs him 50 grand. But isn't our responsibility as health professionals to get people well? And the best path, to get people well. I mean, you do the food aspect, right? And educating people, that's one cog in the wheel of wellness, and a very important one. So, I mean, you and I could work together. And it's easy for me to refer people to you to get better educated with food and nutrition. I mean, I know some nutrition, but I wouldn't ever guide anybody specifically in long term. Right?
Sure, absolutely. So
Did all that make sense? I'm sorry. Maybe we cut out a little bit.
it was a little bit, but it's okay.
Okay.
So fantastic. Now, what is can through motion or posture or anything like that, is there a way to optimally prevent pain or injury, anything like that?
Well, yeah, most people don't come to me for prevention. Most people, it's like the people that only go to the dentist when they have a toothache. Kind of thing. But there's a lot of things, just like what we just did, changing the height of your computer screen and educating people about not, like I don't really type on my phone. I will just say, Siri, set up an appointment, done.
Okay.
So I think the less you can be looking down, the better. I think any sort of movement that doesn't accentuate your symptom, you should be doing for sure. And literally, like I said, I only see people for 8 weeks. I mean, 2 months is nothing to be pain-free the rest of your life, and have the tools to do that. It's like the dentist gives you a toothbrush.
Yeah.
I don't know why going back to the dentist example, but it works.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So what is the first step, if regardless of the source of the pain, what is the first step to really healing and getting well through motion therapy?
What's the process?
Yes.
Yeah, the process is coming to, I literally will give anyone a 30-minute free phone consultation so that I can explain everything, make sure they understand everything that's going to be involved. And if you have a belt and a pillow and a chair, you can do most all of the exercises that I have in my, I guess, kit or briefcase or whatever it is. And I have about 450 of those different ones. And I would say about a third are from yoga, about a third are from, just basic stretching that we did, in junior high gym class or whatever. And the other third are things that I've created over the last 30 years. And a lot of those are just modifications of things that we already know, but they're modified specifically towards you. So what makes, I believe, my program more successful is that everything is individualized. So my point being, if you have a back problem, you don't look like I do. You don't look like a 90-year-old lady. You don't look like a teenager, right? All of those people need something individualized for them posturally, for them, to improve the gait pattern and have the ability to fit into their lifestyle. Because I don't want to give people a bunch of stuff that they're not going to do, because then they end up coming back, 3 years later and saying, about back. So I'm like, well, when was the last time you did your stuff consistently? They're like, well, when was the last time I talked to you? Like, oh my gosh. That happens quite often.
Okay. Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So how can people get in contact with you?
They can go to the website. I believe there's an ebook on there. We're changing some things around. There's an ebook that you can download. And you can also just call 310-753-2011. And the website is titusmotiontherapy.com. But that there's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. But the
Sure.
easiest way is just to call me. On the website, there's also a spot where you can schedule a 30-minute phone consultation as well.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see, as we wrap up here, any last words of wisdom or things that people can keep in mind as they embark on the journey toward being pain-free?
Well, one of my favorite sayings is, the way my grandpa said it was, you can't never did nothing. But Henry Ford said it more eloquently. He said, whether you say you can or you cannot, you will always be right. And I think that so many people think that they can't. And if they just give me a chance, I can show them that they can.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Frank, you've been amazing to hear today. I sure enjoyed having you on the podcast. I know I'm better off because my posture is a little bit better today, and I'll keep in mind these things, and I hope that our viewers can take away some good tips and really focus in on becoming pain free. So thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully we can help some people together.